Please, the floor is yours.
Well, I listened to Barrister Funso uh, and his position on AGOA and the statements he made about TPS. Barrister Funso is absolutely right. Um, the the American position on Cameroon, uh, whether they realize it or not, has remarkably shifted. Um, Previously, it was more diplomatic in them always saying, for now, our current position is XYZ. For now, our current position is XYZ. But when we see the United States government having issued TPS, when we listen to the statements that are being made by the former United States Assistant Secretary for Africa, Mr. Thibault Naj, um, when we see the discordance in the position between the Americans and the French, and when we see the French now beginning to lashing out at in other ways, and when we look at this whole issue of Macron talking about strategic European autonomy when it relates to Taiwan, and if you pay attention to that, you also have to pay attention to when Macron came to visit the White House quite a few months ago. And after he was being interviewed post that visit, he complained about the Europeans needing to depend on an American election for their security. He complained about the disparity in the economic underpinnings of the United States versus Europe. And you fast forward that to now, he's now talking about European strategic autonomy towards the rest of the world. You have to somehow intelligently infer that there are a lot of things that are happening on the ground that have made the Americans to shift their position, not just about Ambazonia, but about the whole imperialist approach towards Africa, about the whole assignment of parts of Africa as something that is exclusively French. When the Americans observed what happened in the intervention in Libya and how France is the one that practically dragged Hillary and Obama into that whole mess that has created insecurity across Mali, Niger, and all of those countries there. Uh, the Americans have assessed that and they are shifting their position, and that includes Cameroon. And they are not shifting their position in Cameroon just because of this global shift, but because they are beginning to realize that they have to stand for the truth. They say you can either stand for the story or you can stand for the facts, you know. And sometimes to be able to make progress, you have to divorce the story and you have to marry the facts. You have to divorce the story and you have to marry the facts. And the story on French Cameroon has always been a somehow shadowy pretense that they somehow have some legitimacy over Ambazonia. The Americans know they don't. And the Americans know. I mean, you again. You have to go back to U.S. Resolution 684, and if you read paragraph 4 of U.S. Senate Resolution 684, it specifically says. And by the way, the United States Senate is the most powerful legislative body in the world. The United Senate, let me say that one more time, is the most powerful legislative body in the world. And when the most powerful legislative body in the world passes a resolution saying the conflict in Cameroon between French Cameroon, supported by France and Ambazonia, has to be resolved, again, paragraph 4 of that resolution says, has to be resolved consistent with the root causes of the conflict. So if you sum up all of these things, the French position, I see Macron as lashing out because the Americans are not going to go with the French line on Cameroon. You look at TPS, you look at AGOA, you look at even Senate, US Congress Resolution 284. And if you read the details of that, you now begin to realize that the American position on Ambazonia has changed. And Ambazonia is already free. We are just going through the emotions of delivering the birth pains of Africa's newest nation. Ambazonia is a separate sovereign nation. Ambazonia is already free. And whether those uncircumcised clowns in French Cameroon want to think that they can keep Ambazonia in perpetuity, that will not happen. Ambazonians, you are already free. We just have to complete the birth pains of delivering Africa's newest nation.